let's check out today's Reason to Smile, sponsored by Delta Dental. Makeup artist and Pound Anytime fitness instructor Angie Maxwell and her husband Mark Maxwell of the Crashers and Maxwell's House of Music are a super sweet duo who are hashtag relationship goals. Mark adores his wonderful wife and vice versa, but what's really making us smile are Angie's recent antics. While Mark was away, she did play and painted the wheelbarrow they share in polka dots. Angie has been tickled to watch Mark haul wood around in the stylish vessel, and he's not 100% sure his car isn't next. Thanks for the smiles, Maxwell's. Now we want to know, what's your reason to smile? Send a video or picture with a description to greatday@WHS11.com or share on our Facebook wall, and you may see it right here on air. Again, that's greatday@WHS11.com or at Great Day Live on Facebook. Now, more Great Day Live.